Hey, what's up guys, this is Jack and welcome back to another tutorial video. So if you have watched my previous videos, I have made a couple of random Android tutorial videos that basically explains how to work on some random stuff in Android. But starting from this video onwards, we are going to learn how we can build or mimic a certain part of a successful app. The main reason why I think this is going to be beneficial for all of us down the road is because by doing so, we are in fact learning from the expert developers behind these giant apps so that we can layer, improvise and implement it in our future projects for a better outcome. With that being said, I'm going to show you guys how we can actually create a splash and login screen that's similar to Facebook and Android. But please make sure your Android Studio is currently running on version 2.2 and above because we will be using constraint layout extensively throughout this tutorial. Alright, let's get started. For your information, I'm currently using Samsung Galaxy Note 5 and I've just updated my Facebook app to the latest version. Now let's take a look at how does the current Facebook splash and login screen look like. As you can see, once you open up the app, first thing you're going to see is a blank screen. Then the background changes color to blue and the Facebook logo shows up. After that, Facebook logo slides upward and lastly all the other views fade in. If you open up the soft keyboard by tapping on one of the edit text views, you can see that the Facebook cover image is gone and everything else has been realigned to fit the screen. Now what will happen if we change the orientation to landscape mode? You will notice that the animation will not be restarted, and same thing, the Facebook cover image is gone and everything else has been realigned to fit the screen in landscape mode. Okay, now let's try one more scenario. What if we open the app in landscape mode from the beginning? Alright, first is the blank screen, then the background changes color to blue and the animation to slide the Facebook logo has been triggered. Now if we change it back in portrait mode, we can observe that the animation will not be restarted, which basically means the animation will only be triggered once unless you have restarted the app. Yep, there are quite a bit of work to do here, which is why I've divided this tutorial into two parts. Don't worry, we are going to tackle it one after another, starting from designing the UI. And as usual, the first thing I'm going to do is to remove the Hello World text view as well as the action bar on top, simply because we don't need them. Delete. And to remove the action bar on top, we need to change the theme. Simply head over to your values, styles.xml, and change your theme to no action bar. Exactly. Yep, there you go. Once you've done that, the next thing you're gonna do is to convert the relative layout into constraint layout. To do so, simply right click on your relative layout located under the component tree section, right click and select convert relative layout to constraint layout option. Click OK. Click OK to add the library. After that, we can change the background color of our constraint layout so that it matches with the one in Facebook. So click on your constraint layout and click on the view all properties option. Under background, simply paste this code right here, 355796. Alright. Now to make a Facebook login screen, we are going to need a couple of horizontal and vertical guidelines so that we can use it to place our views later on. Don't worry if you don't get the idea now, you'll know why we need these guidelines later on. So we are going to need two vertical guidelines. Simply head over to your guidelines and add vertical guideline. And I usually prefer the guidelines to work in percentage. To change it, you need to first select the guideline, and right before the arrow icon, there is an invisible button that allows you to toggle it to percentage. There you go. I am not too sure if this is a bug or a feature, but this is how I do it currently. So I'm gonna set this to 10%. And don't forget to give it a name as well so that it's easier for you to refer later on. Let's change it back to 10. Yep. Alright, now we need to add another vertical guideline. Go ahead and add it. And I'm going to change it to percentage as well. set it at 90. And don't forget to change the name to v_guideline 2. Next, we are going to need 3 more horizontal guidelines. Let me do this real quick. It's the same thing. So I'm gonna set this to 10 and change the name to horizontal guideline 1. Let's add another one, horizontal 30, and change the name to horizontal guideline 2. And one more, add horizontal guideline. Alright, keep it at 40. And I'm going to change the name to horizontal guideline 3. Alright, that's it. Next, we are going to need 2 image views. One for the Facebook logo and the other one for the Facebook cover image. But before we can create the image views, we need to import our images first. To do so, simply copy your image and paste it in the drawable directory. Very easy. Oh, and by the way, I found these 2 images from google.com. They are not 100% the same as the actual app, but it's okay, we'll use these 2 as an example. So simply right click, copy, right click on your drawable directory and paste it. Click OK. Do the same for the cover image, right click, copy, and right click on your drawable directory, paste it. Click OK. Now that we have imported the images that we need, we can go ahead and create the image views. For this one, I'm gonna go for Facebook icon and click OK. Alright, let's give it a name. Then after that, we need to set the constraint for this logo. So click on the More Properties option. Open up Constraints. Let me just hide this one. Now we need to set the constraint left of our logo to the right of vertical guideline 1, which is this one. And we need to set the right side of our logo, constraint right side of our logo, to the left side of vertical 2, like so. And one more thing, we need to set the constraint top to the bottom of horizontal guideline 2, horizontal guideline 3, which is this one. That's it. Now we can proceed on with the Facebook cover image. Alright, simply drag and drop another image view for our Facebook cover image. Select Facebook cover, click OK. Let's give it a name first. And now we can proceed on to set the constraints of our cover image. And this time we can actually use drag and drop feature. Just like so. Drag it to the side, release it, drag it to the side, release it. It's very easy. And for the bottom constraint, we need to drag it to the horizontal guideline 2, which is this one. Now to make it fit this area right here, we need to set the width to any size. And same thing, we need to set the height to any size as well. Set the margin to 0. I don't need any margin. And one more thing, we need to set the scale type to center crop. Alright, that's it. We are done with the image views. Next, we are going to need 2 edit text views, one for the login email and the other one for password. Give it a name and set the constraint. Alright, now we need to change the hint for this text view. Email or phone. Oh, and before I forgot, we need to change the layout width and height as well. Set the layout width to any size, and we're gonna maintain layout height as wrapped content. Alright, after that we need to change both the text color and text color hint to white. Text color. And one last thing, we need to remove the tag so that the hint will show up. Alright, that's it. Let's move on to the password edit text view. Same thing, give it a name and set the constraints. Alright, after that we need to change the layout width to any size. Set the top margin to 4 to give some space in between. And we can go ahead and do the same thing, which is to set the text color and text color key into white. And give it a hint, password. Alright, after that we need to create 2 more text views, one for language selection and the other one for forgot password link. And I know in actual fact we are going to need multiple clickable text view for the language selection, but in our case I'll just use one text view instead because we are not going into details in this tutorial. Alright, same thing, give it a name and set the constraints. Alright, give it some margin. "16 is too much, let's keep it at 8. Alright, then after that we need to set the text and as well as the text color to white. Alright, that's it for the language selection, and we can now move on to forgot password link. Alright, as usual, give it a name and set the constraint for this view. We can't set the top constraint for now because if you take a look at this screenshot where I took it from the actual Facebook app, the forgot password link is actually located underneath the login button. So we will revisit the top constraint after we have created our button later on. For now, we can just leave it blank. Alright, we can move on to set the text as well as the text color. Last but not least, we are going to need 2 more buttons. One for login and the other one to create a new Facebook account. Give it a name. Alright, then we can go ahead and set the constraints. Now that we have the login button ready, we can go ahead and set the top constraint of our forgot password link that we have missed out just now. That's it. Alright, let's go back to our login button and set the background color to this code right here. And then we need to set the text color to darker gray, and then we need to set the text to login, and I'm going to change the layout width as well so that it takes up the whole area to any size, like so. Don't forget to give some top margin. Let's say 8. I think it's a bit too much. I'm gonna keep it at 4. I'm gonna do the same for the forgot password link as well. And one more thing before we move on to the last button, we need to set the enable for this button to false. The reason why is because this button will only be enabled if the user has filled up both the email text views and the password text views. Alright, let's move on to the last button, which is to create a new Facebook account. Same thing, give it a name and set the constraint for this button. And for the bottom constraint, we need to set it to the parent. Simply drag and drop. Alright, I'm gonna remove the margin as we don't need it, and I'm gonna change layout width to any size, and we are going to set the text to create new Facebook account. This button is in fact a little bit tricky. If we take a look at the screenshot, we can tell that this button has a gray color border and a transparent background. How can we achieve the same result in Android Studio? We need to create a new drawable resource file. So head over to your project tab, app, res, right click on your drawable, new drawable resource file. And from here we can actually control the color of our button. I'm gonna just copy and paste. So from here, solid tab means background color, and stroke means the border. So what this script does is that if the button is being pressed, this is the color that will be shown, which is basically light blue, and this is the border that will be shown as well. So if the button is not being pressed, the background will be in transparent and the border will be this. Simple. Alright, now we can go ahead and assign this resource file to our button. Select from the drawable and create account button background, which is the one that we have just created. Click OK. Alright, now we need to set the text color to white, and I think we need to give some bottom margin as well. Let's say 16. Yep, it looks better. Okay, now our UI is all set and we can now go ahead to animate our Facebook logo to slide towards the top of the screen. Let's see how we can do that. Now before we can do any of those fancy stuff, we'll need to reference all of our views in the MainActivity class via the FindViewById method. Alright, once you're done with that, we need to hide all the views except for the Facebook logo. Alright, now let us try to debug our app to see if everything's okay. Alright, cool. Now in order to animate the Facebook logo, we need to do a couple of things. First thing we're gonna do is to create a new directory under rest folder and name it as anim. Right click, new directory, and name it as anim. After that, we need to create a new animation resource file and name it as move FB logo. Click OK. And from here, we are going to use the translate tag to basically define how we would like the animation to work. What this script means is that the item will slide upwards by 30% from the original position within 1000 milliseconds, which basically means 1 second. Once you have done that, we can then use the animation class as well as the animation utils class to animate our Facebook logo. Alright, let's test it out to see if it works. Sweet! Now what we need to do next is to implement the animation listener interface in our MainActivity class, so that it allows us to set the visibility of all the other views after the animation has ended. Okay, then we need to implement the methods by clicking on the line where the error occurred and press alternate plus enter. Select implement methods, select everything and click OK. Alright, now we can go ahead and display all the views in the login screen in the onAnimationAnd method. In order to make all the views fade in, we need to first set the alpha of each views to 0, then set it to visible, and lastly to use the animate method to change the alpha from 0 to 1 gradually. Now before we go ahead and animate each of the views, it would be better for us to retrieve the system's default medium animation time. Alright, after this we can go ahead and animate each of the views. One last step, we also need to make sure we have set the animation listener for our animation object. So move FB. Alright, let's test it out. It seems like our Facebook logo has been covered by the Facebook cover image. Don't worry, it's a quick fix. Now simply head over to your layout file and swap the position of your cover image and your logo image. By doing so, drag and drop. That's it. Let's try it out one more time. Alright, problem solved. Now let's see what will happen if we open up the soft keyboard. Everything seems to be fine except for two things. The Facebook cover image should be hidden and the Facebook logo shouldn't be moved. Don't worry, let's work on the first issue. So how can we hide the Facebook cover image when the soft keyboard is shown? First of all, we need to be able to detect if the soft keyboard is being shown on screen. But unfortunately, there is no direct way to achieve this. I've done quite a bit of research on this, and what we need to do is that we need to hook a global layout listener into the view tree observer of our activities root view, which is basically our constraint layout. Alright, let's do that. There are basically a couple of things to do here. We need to first give our constraint layout a name, so head over to your layout file, double click on the constraint layout located in the component tree section, and give it a name. After that, we need to head back to our main activity and we need to create a function that basically convert dp to px. So what this function does is that it will basically convert the value in dp into px, which is pixel, based on the context display metrics. Alright, we can now go ahead and implement the global layout listener. So what we have done here is that we have hooked a global layout listener to our constraint layout so that each time when the layout state changes, it will basically calculate the difference between the overall height and the current visible height, and if the difference is more than 200 pixels, it basically means the soft keyboard is currently being shown in the screen. Now let's take a look at the screenshot of the actual Facebook app. When the keyboard is shown, we can tell that the Facebook cover image is gone, the language selection link is gone, and lastly the forgot password link is gone as well. So let's work on that real quick. Don't forget, we need to set these views to visible when the keyboard is hidden. Alright guys, let's try to debug our app to see if it works. Okay, here comes another issue, because the cover image, language selection link as well as the forgot password link shouldn't be shown unless the animation has already ended. But don't worry, this is a quick fix. The reason why this issue is happening is because we should only trigger this part of code right here after the animation has ended. And we can actually fix it by adding a boolean variable. Let's see how that can be done. Alright, first thing first, we need to add the variable. And the default value is going to be false. And we should set it to true when the animation has ended. And lastly, we can use a simple if statement to solve this issue. Alright, let's test it to see if it works. Alright, perfect. One issue down and one more to go. Now, so how can we fix the position of the Facebook logo so that it will not be moved after the soft keyboard has appeared, like so? Well, unfortunately, we can't, because even if we have shifted the Facebook logo to the top center of the screen, the actual or physical location of the logo is still located in the center of the screen. That's the reason why it's being pushed when the soft keyboard has appeared. The workaround solution to this is basically to create another Facebook logo and place it in the top center of the screen so that it can be used to replace the animated Facebook logo when the animation has ended. Alright, let's do that. So head over to your layout file and create an image view. Drag and drop. I am going to use the same image, Facebook icon, click OK, give it a name. Alright, and lastly we need to set the constraints. Let me hide this so that we have more space. Okay, let me see if there's any margin applied. No, okay, yeah, that's it. The next thing we're gonna do is to reference the static Facebook logo in our main activity by using findViewById method. Alright, we need to hide it as well. Lastly, we need to show the static Facebook logo after the animation has ended. Right here. And at the same time, we should also set the visibility of the animated Facebook logo to gone. But before that, we need to first clear the animation, or else the visibility will not work. Alright, let's test it out. And voila, perfect! We have finally completed the Facebook splash and login screen in portrait mode. Let's try to change it to landscape and see what will happen. Oh my god, it's not even close to what we were trying to achieve. But don't worry, we'll tackle it one after another in the next video. But for now, if you liked the video, please hit on the like button, share it to your friends, and of course don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.